I am Todd Simmons, the Executive Director of Jefferson Performing Arts Society, and I am here today with the director of our upcoming production of the Addams Family musical, Ms. Leslie Castay. Leslie, thank you for being here today.
I'm glad to be here.
Wonderful. Well, I want to start by saying this will be one of our first shows after COVID.
Yes.
And so with that in mind, what have you been doing for the past, 16 months?
Since March of 2020.
Yeah, March of 2020.
Besides binging Netflix and
of course,
trying new recipes, I was actually pretty busy,
Really?
artistically, COVID-wise. I did several radio dramas. We all had to get creative doing what we did virtually online.
Right.
Sometimes it felt like, just shouting into the void. I created a cabaret show that I live streamed from the Petit stage. I directed 2 pieces. I directed a Tennessee Williams one act for the festival, and I directed a virtual online version of Mandatory Merriment of the holiday musical I directed and co-created for Southern Rep. So I kept busy.
Wow, it's kind of interesting. During that time, we were talking with young or directors about what they would tell young people to do during that period, and that was exactly what they were saying. Create your own opportunities. And I think for so many people, they were like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
And I guess that's how you do it.
It was just, it was a challenge, but people just wanted to, it was a place marker. Nothing is better than being in a room together in live theater, on a stage, performing in real time to real people. Right. But we had to find a way of something just to keep the muscles stretched and the muscles flexed and all of that. So we did what we had to. And I know, and I got used to seeing a lot of theater on a little screen.
Right. Absolutely. Well, do you think that the theater world's going to change because of what happened during COVID?
Yes, absolutely. I just think safety protocols are just going to be much more in place and much at the forefront, like any public place, in our country today. Airline travel is changing, everything is changing. So so theater as a result, I think is going to change as well. But we're coming out on the other side, and we can get back together and we can enjoy theater again. And I think Addams Family is just such a perfect, fun, great musical to kick off JPAS's season with.
Right.
I'm super excited.
Well, let's talk about the show. You'll be directing this show. Now, tell us. We all know you as a performer, a singer, and actress, and but this you'll be directing. So, talk to us a little bit about that transition of directing, acting, just how that works for you.
Well, for me, it's storytelling, right? It's all storytelling. So whether I'm singing a song or acting in a film or a play or a television show, your character, if it's just you performing, your character has a story and a journey to tell. And then you step back as a director, and I've been sort of more and more attracted to the other side of the table just because it's a bigger story I get to tell. And it's just so wonderful. And I've been teaching a lot and working with young performers. And there's such joy and such satisfaction in seeing people, oh, I get it. Oh, I get it. When you, I've been lucky enough to do some Broadway shows with some great hard-hitting people. To watch Nathan Lane in a rehearsal room is like,
Really?
That's a masterclass in itself. And for me, and I took for granted that I just had these experiences, and now they're inside of me, and now I get to sort of help the new generation find those things, So it's very satisfying to me to sort of, get people who maybe have never had a chance to be in a leading role or to do a classic musical, to watch that joy, to watch that process happen in them. And I just love it. I love it.
Well, tell us a little bit how, as a director, how do you prepare? How do you put together the show as opposed to an actress where you learn your part, you learn the other people's parts around you, and it's really about you and putting it in your voice and body. As a director, what do you do?
Well, a director is not a solo rower, and I'm not rowing the boat by myself. I'm in a large
Right.
ship. So I've got so much help. I love collaborating with people. So for me, the story that I want to tell is aided by my stage manager, you know, who keeps the rehearsal running, going, who writes down blocking, who helps me remember things when I say, do this, and then 20 minutes later I said, what did I do? What did I just tell them to do? So the stage manager helps me. The lighting designer helps to tell the story and bring the focus where you need it to be. The music director makes the music clean. The choreographer makes the steps wonderful and helps to tell the story along. So I'm just part of a bigger, you know, collaborative family, and the director just sort of like gets to work with all these wonderful people and just help steer the ship sort of straight, I suppose, if that makes any sense.
That's interesting. I think a lot of people's impression of a director is someone who comes in with a preconceived idea of what they will be creating and what you will be singing and how you will be doing it. And it's less that and more of a listener to the other people's thoughts.
Right, absolutely. I do have my blocking, you know, in advance when I go on. You know, I read the play constantly. I immerse myself into the world. I do all sort of research. I have Pinterest boards of pictures and lookbooks and things like that, and moods, and I have Spotify playlists that I do all sorts of things just to get me into the mood of the piece, whatever I'm doing. And then when we get into the rehearsal room, if a particular piece of blocking doesn't work for me and the actor prefers to do it another way, I love to try it. Now, when you only have 2-3 weeks of rehearsal, there's only so much of the experimenting you can do, but the more an actor brings to me their homework, the more fun it is.
Absolutely.
You know, it's just great, you know.
Well, let's talk about the show Addams Family. First off, it is a musical, and so the drama is not just a straight play, so there's song and dance involved with it.
It's a big musical.
It's a big musical. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the story itself?
Right. So it uses the iconic characters from the cartoonist Charles Addams, you know, and everybody might be familiar, of course, with the theme song with the snapping. But I think 1965, the television show aired for a few seasons. So we all sort of know those iconic characters. And then, of course, the movie franchise in the 90s took those same characters and made different sort of storylines. And now the musical takes the same characters and creates an entirely different storyline. So this is sort of like Wednesday is growing up and she falls in love and she wants to marry a normal boy. So the normal boy's family must come to dinner and visit. And at the same time, Gomez is caught between his wife Morticia and his daughter Wednesday, both asking them two separate things. You know, the daughter Wednesday is asking, please don't tell mom yet. I'm not ready to break the news to her. Just let the new parents come to visit. And then Morticia is like, Gomez, you never lie to me, do you? Don't ever keep a secret from me. So poor Gomez is trapped in the middle.
Is it hard to do a musical where the drama stops, or does it not stop with the music and the dance?
Oh, it always continues.
Okay.
Always continues, you know. Even if we're just like, and we're gonna dance now because it's a great fun dance number.
Right.
But the emotional arc of the story continues. You understand? So even if something plot-wise is not continuing in a certain song or a dance number, the emotional arc continues, and it grabs the audience and takes them along on that journey with you. So there's a wonderful tango at the end of the show in the number that everyone starts tangoing. And on the page, it looks like, well, nothing's really happening here. But when you get all these bodies on the stage doing this wonderful, sexy, funny, romantic tango, the audience is caught up in it by the end, and they're ready to take that journey with you.
It's interesting. Even in the movie, they have tangos and music and all kinds of stuff that's going on. I think they have the mamushka that they dance.
The score is very clever because Andrew Lippa, the composer, he sort of writes idiomatically for different characters. So we have, so the young kids really have a more pop rock sensibility to their songs. Gomez and Morticia, of course, have more of the Latin flair. Morticia has very much of the tango. Uncle Fester is more like a vaudevillian. You know, his songs are a real throwback. He's sort of like the MC of the whole evening. He breaks the fourth wall constantly to the audience and says, come along with me in this story. So it's so charming. It's such a charming musical.
Well, now for those who don't know what fourth wall is.
The
Why don't
fourth
you
wall,
tell us what that
the
is?
fourth wall is so a theater has 3 walls, side, side, back. The fourth wall is the wall in front of the audience.
Mhm.
And most, when you see a play, most actors don't break the fourth wall, meaning directly address the audience.
Right.
But you'll see Uncle Fester do that a lot, so it's okay. So it's sort of like with a wink, yes, this is a story we're telling, but come along with it, join us, join us into this crazy world. We all have those weird relatives, right?
Mhm.
We had a lot. You might have been quarantining with a few of these people for the last year and a half. You may have had some Uncle Fester living on the 3rd floor, and you didn't plan on it.
Of course.
So I think we can all relate to those people in our families that we love unconditionally, but they're a little off the beaten path, or that a little, march to their own beat,
Right.
And this is a story at the heart about, marital love, familial love, learning
Right.
to accept people's own quirks.
Mm. Well, now you said normal,
Yeah.
but for the Addams family, this so-called normal person in society is
Right.
not a normal person to them.
Not at all.
He is the real strange off one.
Right.
How do you think this show, it's fun, it's games, it is a great show, it's great music. What's the deeper story in this show for today's public?
Mm-hmm. I think just giving other people a chance, going past first impressions,
Mhm.
don't rush to put people in their obvious box.
Right.
Give people a chance.
Mm.
Give people a chance.